Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining me from Hy-Vee, our dietitian. I say ours, but she's everyone's dietitian. It's Amy, and she's back. Amy, how are you doing first and foremost today?
I'm doing really good. Thanks. How about you?
Hey, hanging in there, and very excited to talk today. We're going to talk about budgeting. That's smart. I like the title. And we're going to talk about budgeting, and it rolls into so many different things when you're trying to plan your meals. And I'll just say, as a family, we're a family of four at the Crosby household. It gets tough day after day, and trying to come up with new ideas and still feel the old ideas, and you want to do quick. There's just so many things to it. But you've got some smart ways here that we can budget and still enjoy ourselves, I guess, more or less. So tell us a little bit about the plan today.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think budgeting is always a good topic, but especially now. I mean, if you turn on the news on any given day, I feel like there's almost always a story now about, the record inflation we're facing right now, and everything seems to be going up in price. So if there was never a better time to kind of dial in on getting your food budgeting under control, this is a great opportunity for that. So I've just got some different tips that you can use to get that food budget under control. And not everything you have to do all the time. Not everything may work for you, but there's a lot of different things that you can start to implement that will kind of chip away at that food budget.
All right, starting with the first one, choosing a off-brand or non-name brand, a generic. How can we, why do we save money on in using these products?
Yep. So store brands or private label brands, kind of what we refer to those as, are definitely going to save you money. I know sometimes people get a little maybe leery of getting the store brand versus like a national name brand. But really, when it comes to quality, you're getting a very comparable product. So the quality isn't going to suffer. You're definitely going to save some money. And one thing to know with Hy-Vee especially is that we do have a Hy-Vee brand of products. We also have some other that fall under that private label brand umbrella. So in our Italian line, we have a line called Gustare Vita, which is a pasta sauce, pasta. They have jarred pesto that's really great. So that's a nice line. And then also That's Smart is another private label brand, as well as Full Circle. And they do have some organic options as well.
Yeah, and they taste really good. I switched to buying I don't know if you want, not the private label, but the other brands, and tried a lot of different things, and you really don't notice. I don't know. I haven't noticed the difference, but I think it's definitely a good option for choosing a different brand, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely a great place to get some of those savings in.
All right, eat more meals at home. Sounds easy, but
yep. Yes, and you don't have to eat every meal at home. But the more meals you can eat at home, obviously, is gonna be a huge cost saving. So if you think, a dinner recipe, for example, a lot of times an entree at a restaurant can cost upwards, $20 to $30 an entree, depending on what you're ordering. Obviously, there's going to be quite a bit of variety. So if you think that's for one person, that adds up really fast. If you can, even one more night a week at home rather than purchasing something from the restaurant, again, is a good way to save. And like I said, it doesn't have to be every meal. So, just doing it a little bit more will help. So.
Absolutely. And that goes right into the next one, meal planning. And I think if you plan ahead that you're going to have leftovers to make, it could be a second dish or turn it into something else. I think that's a bonus. And you hear it all the time, but tell us why it's so important to do some meal planning.
Yes, for two reasons, I think. The one you mentioned, which incorporating the leftovers, but then also you're cutting down on food waste. So not only are you saving the money by cooking at home, but if you can make a plan for those leftovers, you're not going to be throwing things out. So, if you don't want to eat the exact same thing every night, you don't have to. You can just repurpose different pieces of the meal into something else. So if you're grilling chicken breasts one night, maybe grill a couple extra, and then the next night chop them up and use them in a soup, or, you know, shred them up and you could use them in a taco recipe or something like that. So it doesn't always have to be eating the exact same thing night after night after night.
I like this next one, picking a daily theme. And this is where the Meatless Monday, Taco Tuesday, I love those themes, but that just takes the guessing work out of it just as much as the planning. It works hand in hand.
Absolutely. Yep. And I think where that really helps is that as people start to really meal plan and look for those new recipes, it's easy to get really overwhelmed because there's so many to choose from. You know, if you go on a website and start looking through recipes, sometimes people have a hard time just picking one because there's so many. And so that's where having that theme really helps, because as you see a recipe you like, oh, perfect, this is an Italian recipe, I can slot it in on my pasta night or whatever. So it just helps give a little bit more focus as you're doing that searching for recipes.
Well, I think thinking of it broad too, Taco Tuesday, you know, could be any sort of Mexican themed, Spanish cuisine, you know, you name it, it could be whatever. So I think it just makes it easier instead of saying we are gonna have to have a taco, it's gonna be beef and it's gonna, no. All right.
Yeah, tacos are nothing on Tuesdays. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Focus on nutrient-rich foods. This one is a tough one for me, and I gotta do this. It's a good thing.
Yes, and a lot of your kind of, you know, not necessarily less expensive, but you can get a lot of staples that really are going to contain a lot of nutrition as you start to build meals and make more things at home. So, you know, things like eggs, oatmeal, canned beans, you know, black beans I love, I use a lot, brown rice, non-fat Greek yogurt. You know, a lot of these things are relatively inexpensive and they're very nutrient dense. And so these are kind of things to always have on hand that you can use in a lot of different ways as you start to make more meals at home.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we're running out of time here. So if people want to learn more about saving some dollars and still doing some good cooking and everything else in between, you guys have a lot of resources at Hy-Vee to get it started.
We do, yes. And we actually have a budget cooking guide on Hy-Vee.com. And there's lots of budget-friendly recipes on Hy-Vee.com as well. So those recipes are really tailored to use some of those lower cost ingredients. So that's a great resource to check out if you haven't already.
All right, Amy, thank you so much for all the great tips. Appreciate your time. We'll check in with you next month.
All right, sounds great. Thanks.
You bet. Again, check out Hy-Vee's website for more information on the stuff Amy just shared with you, and you can always get in contact with Amy as well. We'll take a quick break. More to come. You're watching Talking Fitchburg.